Have you ever felt a growing sense of curiosity as you age, but found that asking questions often leads to misunderstandings or dismissive responses from the younger generation? In today's fast-paced world, the technological divide can leave us feeling powerless and frustrated. But there's a way to bridge this gap and foster understanding without the sting of sarcasm or arrogance. In this video, we'll explore 5 essential insights to help you navigate your relationships and interactions as you grow older. We'll discuss why it's crucial to avoid asking questions directly, how to express humility and compassion, and the importance of managing our emotions. By the end, you'll not only learn how to communicate more effectively with younger generations, but also discover how to maintain your dignity and self-worth in a world that sometimes overlooks the wisdom of experience. Stay tuned, because the insights shared today can empower you to connect meaningfully, avoid unnecessary conflict, and enhance your overall well-being in this new chapter of life. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Even if you're curious, don't ask questions. As we journey through life, particularly as we grow older, there's a natural shift that happens to our bodies, our minds, and our senses. The physical freedom we once enjoyed may slowly start to fade away. Our senses, once so sharp, may begin to dull. Our hearing isn't what it used to be, and our eyesight is not as clear. And yet, in this phase of life, something fascinating happens. Our curiosity intensifies. It's as if, in response to our physical limitations, our minds and hearts are hungrier than ever to learn, explore, seek out new experiences, and understand the world around us in new ways. It's a kind of beautiful irony. As our physical world becomes more constrained, our intellectual and emotional world wants to expand. But there's a challenge here, one that so many of us face daily, and that is the rapid pace at which the world is changing, especially with technology. The younger generation, our grandchildren, children, or even the neighbors' kids are growing up in a world where information is not just easily accessible, it's instant. With just a swipe or a tap, they can find answers to almost anything. And they do this continuously, almost effortlessly, which is a vast departure from how we learn things. There was a time when gathering information meant going to the library, reading books, or engaging in conversations with people around us. It took time and effort. Now, the younger generation is living in a different universe of instant information, and that creates a gap between us, a gap that can sometimes feel overwhelming. We often find ourselves perplexed by how quickly things are changing. We sit in front of devices that we struggle to operate, or hear terms being used that mean nothing to us. And so, our natural response is to ask questions. We ask because we want to understand. After all, we're curious. After all, we refuse to be left behind. But then comes the hard part. Instead of welcoming our curiosity, the younger generation often reacts in ways that make us feel small, unintelligent, or worse, irrelevant. When we ask, "What is that?" or "How does this work?" we are met with 2 common responses, both of which sting deeply. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The first is sarcasm. They may laugh at all their eyes or make a flippant comment that suggests they don't have time to explain it to us, or even worse, that we should already know. They might ignore the question altogether, as if it's not even worth their time to acknowledge. The second common response feels equally hurtful. They tell us to look it up ourselves. It's as if our questions, our attempts to connect and understand, are met with irritation or impatience. These responses, though they may seem small or harmless to them, are anything but. For us, they can cut to the core. Imagine being someone who has lived a full, rich life, someone who has raised children, built a career, contributed to society, and now, in the later years of life, being made to feel as if none of that matters. That's what these interactions can do. When we're dismissed or belittled by the younger generation, It's more than just a moment of misunderstanding. It's a reminder of the widening gap between us. It's a reminder that the world we once knew is slipping further out of reach, and that can be deeply unsettling. For many older adults, these responses aren't just unpleasant, they're painful. They carry with them a sense of disrespect, a feeling of being undervalued, or, worse, being seen as obsolete. But here's the thing, we are far from obsolete. Just because the world is moving faster and technology is evolving, doesn't mean we have nothing left to contribute or that we should simply fade into the background. Our generation has faced challenges that today's youth could never imagine. We've weathered storms, both literal and metaphorical. We've lived through wars, recessions, societal shifts, and monumental changes in culture and technology. We have experience, and we have wisdom, and we have resilience. These are not small things. These are the very things that have allowed us to navigate life with strength and grace, even when the odds were against us. So why should we, at this stage of life, allow ourselves to feel diminished by the impatient or dismissive reactions of a generation that hasn't yet walked in our shoes? The answer is simple: we shouldn't. But what do we do with this intense curiosity that refuses to fade, even as the world around us becomes more difficult to navigate? How do we reconcile our desire to learn and grow with the often harsh responses we receive from younger people? The key, I believe, lies in wisdom and emotional intelligence. Rather than reacting with frustration or feeling hurt when our questions are dismissed, we can take a step back and approach the situation differently. We can still satisfy our curiosity, but we can do so in a way that preserves our dignity and fosters positive interactions with the younger generation. One effective method is to control our emotions and approach the conversation with kindness and tact. And instead of directly asking questions that may provoke a sarcastic or dismissive response, we can shift the conversation by offering genuine compliments or expressions of admiration. For instance, instead of saying, "What is that?" or "How does that work?" we could say, "You are so fortunate to have all this information at your fingertips." Or, "It's amazing how quickly you can find what you need these days." These kinds of statements do more than just soften the interaction. They open a door for the younger person to share their knowledge without feeling like they're being quizzed or challenged. By complimenting their abilities, we create an environment of mutual respect. It becomes less about the question and more about the connection. And often, when we approach with this kind of positivity, we find that the younger generation is more willing to share what they know. They feel seen and appreciated, and in turn, they respond with generosity and kindness. This allows us to gain the information we need without feeling like we're imposing or being made to feel small. It's a delicate balance, but it can be incredibly rewarding. We don't have to give up our curiosity. We should never give up our curiosity. It's what keeps us young at heart, engaged with the world, and open to new experiences. But we can choose how we express that curiosity in ways that foster connection rather than division. We can be both curious and wise, both eager to learn and mindful of how we approach the process of learning. In the end, what we seek is not just information, it's understanding, connection, and respect. By approaching our curiosity with a gentle, thoughtful touch, we can bridge the generational divide and continue to engage with the world around us in meaningful, fulfilling ways. This is how we continue to grow, not just as individuals, but as part of a larger, interconnected community. And in doing so, we remind ourselves and the younger generation that we are far from irrelevant. We are still here, still learning, still contributing, and still worthy of respect. Number 2, never use arrogant words. We've all met people who, when they speak, come across as arrogant. But why does this happen? What would drive someone to present themselves in such a way? The truth is that arrogance often stems from a deeper, more fragile place, our inherent need to protect our self-esteem. For many, self-esteem is the foundation upon which our identity and sense of worth are built. It shapes how we see ourselves and how we engage with the world. When that foundation feels shaky or uncertain, arrogance often steps in as a defense mechanism, masking insecurities that may lie just beneath the surface. At its core, arrogance is a tool some people use to shield themselves from the vulnerability of feeling inadequate or lacking confidence. Those who appear arrogant often need to bolster their sense of self-worth by projecting an image of superiority. You see, when someone lacks genuine confidence, they feel the need to create a facade, a mask that says, "I am better than you," when in reality, this is far from the truth. It's not that they genuinely believe they're superior, it's that they're trying to convince themselves and others that they are. When people with this mindset achieve success, they're quick to claim full credit for it. Their successes become a reflection of their supposed greatness, a validation they desperately seek. But when they fail, things take a different turn. Instead of taking responsibility for their mistakes, they point fingers, shift blame, and make excuses. They say things like, "I didn't fail because of me. It was due to some external factor I couldn't control." These are all efforts to avoid the painful truth that they, like everyone else, are fallible. This refusal to accept failure or mistakes is deeply tied to a weak sense of self-esteem. Admitting failure would mean confronting their vulnerabilities, and that's something they just can't face. Bragging is another form of arrogance that we often encounter. It's subtle sometimes, but it's there. Take, for example, someone who invites others to dinner not out of kindness or generosity, but as a way to flaunt their wealth status or ability to do so. It's not about making others feel good, it's about making themselves feel important. They want to prove something, to demonstrate their value by showcasing what they can provide. These small acts of boasting may seem harmless on the surface, but they often reveal a deeper need to present to the world. Bragging is, in many ways, an exaggerated display of one's achievements or abilities. It distorts reality, making something small seem grander than it truly is. And while these actions may appear to benefit others, a dinner invitation, a grand gesture, it's not the action itself that matters, but the intent behind it. The need to elevate oneself through such gestures makes the act less about generosity and more about self-promotion. And the more a person engages in this type of behavior, the more transparent their insecurities become. As we grow older and mature, we begin to realize how unnecessary and even harmful bragging and arrogance can be. The more we boast, the more we reveal the emptiness behind the facade. The moment you brag, people notice. They see through the act, and what they see is not confidence, but fragility. Bragging doesn't elevate you in the eyes of others, it diminishes you. It exposes the gaps in your self-esteem and highlights just how much of your worth is built on a shaky foundation. As we mature, we come to understand that true confidence comes from within. It doesn't need to be flaunted or exaggerated. Inviting someone to dinner, for example, should be a simple, sincere act of kindness, not a platform to boost our ego. When we give without the need to be praised, when we help without expecting anything in return, that's when we truly grow. Humility, not arrogance, is the true mark of strength. Humility doesn't require recognition or validation. It's rooted in a quiet confidence that doesn't need to shout to be heard. It's easy to fall into the trap of using arrogant words or actions to prove ourselves to others. We live in a world that often celebrates outward displays of success and achievement. But the more we mature, the more we realize that our actions should speak for themselves. We don't need to use boastful language or display our accomplishments to prove our worth. The more we do, the more we risk exposing just how fragile our sense of self is. True self-esteem doesn't need to be defended with arrogance or protected by excuses. It doesn't need to be bolstered with bragging or elevated through the belittlement of others. Instead, it grows stronger when we are honest with ourselves and with others. When we admit our mistakes and take responsibility for our actions, we build a sense of self-worth that isn't dependent on the opinions or validation of others. The more we practice humility and honesty, the more we nurture our self-esteem. And this kind of self-esteem is resilient. It doesn't crumble in the face of failure, nor does it need to be exaggerated in the light of success. It's steady, unwavering, and grounded in reality. So instead of using arrogant or bragging words to prove ourselves, we should let our actions do the talking. A kind gesture, a thoughtful word, an act of generosity, these speak far louder and more meaningfully than any boast ever could. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. In the end, arrogance is nothing more than a mask for insecurity. It's a defense mechanism, a way for people to avoid facing their vulnerabilities. But the real strength lies in embracing those vulnerabilities, in being honest with ourselves and others, and in finding peace with who we are, flaws and all. When we stop trying to prove ourselves through arrogant words and actions, we allow our true selves to shine through. And that's where true confidence and true connection with others can be found. Number 3, don't unnecessarily dredge up your flaws. As relationships evolve and grow more intimate, there often comes a point where it feels like there's no more mystery left, no more secrets to hold on to. It's natural to feel that as you become closer to someone, you should start opening up more about your personal life. Talking about small, everyday matters like where you want to eat or which places you enjoy visiting feels comfortable and even fun. These conversations rarely cause trouble. But the moment you shift from the present to the past, especially when it involves your mistakes, regrets, or painful experiences, things start to get tricky. We all carry the weight of past mistakes, poor decisions, and experiences that we wish we could forget. But once you let those stories out, once you reveal those darker moments, they no longer belong just to you. What you say becomes part of the other person's reality. And no matter how much you may later wish you could take it back, erase it, or pretend it never happened, those words cannot be unsaid. You can't control how the other person will internalize that information, and you may unknowingly hand them a tool that can be used against you in the future. This can create a vulnerability that is difficult to anticipate. The more you share about your past flaws, the more ammunition you give someone to hurt you, whether they mean to or not. What may seem like an innocent revelation at the moment could later become a weapon, perhaps thrown at you in the heat of an argument or brought up when you least expect it. And this doesn't just affect how the other person sees you, it affects how you see yourself. Sharing too much, particularly about your negative experiences, can cause you to dwell on those flaws and mistakes more than necessary. Over time, it can wear away at your self-esteem, making you question your worth in the relationship. Revealing too much of your private life, especially the parts you aren't proud of, can put you at a disadvantage. In the eyes of your partner, those stories may start to overshadow the person you are today. And even if they care for you deeply, it's hard to ignore the baggage of the past once it's been brought to light. And let's be honest, it's not just your partner who is affected. Your allies, friends, family, and others who care about you might also start to see you in a different light if too many of your flaws are constantly dredged up. The more you relive your negative past, the more you reinforce it in your mind, making it hard to escape the cycle of self-doubt. If you realize this too late, it can have devastating consequences. Relationships, no matter how strong, can crumble under the weight of too much negativity, especially when that negativity stems from constantly revisiting the past. You may find yourself caught in a situation where the very person you trusted with your deepest secrets now holds them over you, intentionally or not. This creates an imbalance in the relationship, making it harder for you to move forward. As we mature, we need to recognize the importance of controlling what we choose to share. It's not about being secretive or hiding parts of ourselves, it's about being wise and discerning. You don't need to reopen old wounds or dig up past failures to build a meaningful connection. Instead of dwelling on the mistakes you've made, why not focus on the positive changes you've embraced? Share the growth you've experienced, the lessons you've learned, and the ways you've transformed into a better person. This not only shifts the narrative away from negativity, but also reinforces your self-worth. Constantly revisiting your flaws can make you see yourself through a negative lens. And the more you do that, the harder it becomes to break free from that perception. Your past does not define you, but if you keep bringing it up, it will start to feel like it does. The key is to choose what you share carefully, with the understanding that some parts of your past may be better left unspoken. That doesn't mean pretending to be perfect. It means recognizing that not every story needs to be told. There's a great deal of power in focusing on the present and the future, in acknowledging your strengths and growth rather than your weaknesses and regrets. Protect yourself from unnecessary pain by keeping those darker chapters of your life where they belong in the past. This doesn't mean you're denying their existence. It means you're choosing not to let them dominate your current narrative. By sharing more of the positive and less of the negative, you allow the other person to see you as you are now, not as you were then. Ultimately, relationships are built on trust, but trust doesn't mean full disclosure of every mistake you've ever made. It means sharing what's necessary to deepen your connection, while keeping enough of yourself protected so that your self-esteem remains intact. The stories you choose to share should uplift and build stronger bonds, not create opportunities for regret or hurt later on. In doing so, you protect not only your relationship but also your sense of self-worth. Let your actions and your present self speak for who you are today. The past can stay where it belongs. This approach not only strengthens your relationships, but also fosters a healthier view of yourself. You're not defined by your flaws, you're defined by the growth and wisdom you've gained through life's journey. So, choose carefully, speak thoughtfully, and remember that not every flaw needs to be shared. Sometimes the best thing you can do is let your actions and your current self speak for themselves, leaving the past where it belongs. Number 4, don't get angry. As we grow older, we often hear people say that we become more like children and that we can be quick to anger over the smallest things. On the surface, this might seem like a reasonable observation. After all, just as a child can fly into a rage over something trivial, elderly people can also find themselves losing patience and becoming frustrated over seemingly minor matters. I won't pretend that I'm any different. I too have moments where my temper flares up, and I know that it's all too easy to become irritable. But what's often lurking beneath the surface of this anger isn't the trivial matter at hand, it's something much deeper. It's loneliness. Loneliness has a way of eating at us, especially as we age. It's not just about being physically alone, it's about feeling like your presence, your very existence, is no longer valued or acknowledged. When we feel like we're being overlooked, when it seems like people are moving on without us, that's when anger can rise. It's a way of saying, I still matter. Don't forget about me. But of course, this anger doesn't bring us the validation we seek. It only pushes others away and leaves us feeling even more isolated. I remember a specific time when anger got the best of me. I had heard that my group, people I considered close to me, was holding a meeting without my knowledge. I was furious. The thought kept gnawing at me. How could they do this? How could they deliberately exclude me, as if I no longer mattered? The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. I wondered, who am I to them? Have I become so insignificant? My self-esteem took a heavy blow, but instead of voicing my feelings, I swallowed the anger and silently fumed, letting it build up inside me. Then someone from the group called me. Instead of offering an apology or explanation, they said something that made my blood boil even more. Have you been feeling unwell recently? Or are you so successful that you no longer need to attend our meetings? It felt like an insult, a mockery of my place within the group. At that moment, all my bottled up frustration spilled out. I snapped. How dare you? I am a former chairman. Why did you hold a meeting for former and current members without a meeting? I was livid. I felt utterly disrespected and sidelined. But then came the response that made me freeze. The person on the other end said, "Why didn't you notify us earlier? Please check the message once more." Confused and still seething, I hung up the phone and immediately checked my messages. And there it was, a message inviting me to the meeting that I had somehow missed. The anger that had consumed me now turned into deep embarrassment. I had let my emotions get the best of me without fully understanding the situation. Worse still, I had lashed out, showing my temper in a way that made me look foolish and stubborn in the eyes of others. Feeling humbled and ashamed, I called back to apologize. "I'm truly sorry," I said. I hadn't seen the message. I begged them to keep this incident a secret, but the damage had already been done. What could have been a simple misunderstanding resolved with a little patience had turned into an embarrassing episode, all because I let my anger control me. As I reflected on that situation, I realized something important. In old age, we can't afford to be ruled by stubbornness or negative emotions. We must learn to be gentle with ourselves, to show kindness to our souls, and to let go of anger before it consumes us. Anger, especially in old age, is not a privilege or a badge of honor, it's a burden. It weighs us down, distracts us from the joys of life, and causes unnecessary pain. Children may get angry, cry, and throw tantrums as part of their growth and development, but for the elderly, anger serves no purpose. It's a hollow emotion, one that eats away at our peace and leaves us bitter. The truth is, as we age, we need to step away from emotions like anger, greed, and jealousy. These feelings don't bring us happiness. They only keep us trapped in the past, obsessing over what we've gained or lost, what we've achieved or failed to achieve. None of that matters anymore. What matters is how we live now, in this moment. The key to a peaceful life as we grow older is learning to control our emotions and to live with patience and calm. Anger often stems from loneliness, from the fear that we are no longer important. But we cannot let that fear dictate our behavior. We cannot let anger, however justified it may seem, rob us of our inner peace. The time we have left is too precious to waste on feelings that only hurt us. Instead, we should aim to live with a sense of contentment, untethered from the weight of past grievances or unmet expectations. When you stop the waves of anger in your heart, you open yourself up to a life of tranquility. You allow yourself to experience the present fully, without the baggage of the past dragging you down. And that peace, that serenity, is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It's a reminder that you are still here, still deserving of joy and connection, and that no amount of anger or frustration can take that away unless you allow it to. So let go of the anger. Let it pass through you without taking hold. Live as if each moment is a new opportunity to find peace, to love, and to be grateful for the life you have. There is so much beauty in the world, even in the small, quiet moments, but you can only see it when you're not clouded by anger. And that, I believe, is how we should choose to live as we grow older, free from the chains of past hurt and anger, and open to the peace and happiness that life still has to offer. Number 5, afterwards, don't complain too much about your illness. It's an undeniable truth that our feelings have a profound influence on our lives. Often we're ruled more by our emotions than by logic or reason. We tend to react to situations based on how we feel in the moment, and those emotions end up shaping our mood, our outlook, and ultimately our experience of happiness. Our feelings can lift us or weigh us down, and this is especially true as we grow older. But no matter what challenges we face, including those related to our health, there's something powerful about choosing to focus on positivity, not just for others, but also for ourselves. Unfortunately, it's all too common to see older adults fall into the habit of constantly talking about their illnesses. We've all witnessed it, whether on the streets, in cafes, or social gatherings, groups of elderly people who immediately steer the conversation toward their latest doctor's visit, their chronic pain, or their medications. Back pain, headaches, arthritis, diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney problems, you name it. It becomes the centerpiece of the discussion. It's as though the identity of so many older adults becomes entwined with their ailments, as if they see themselves only as patients, not as vibrant individuals with lives beyond their health issues. And while it's perfectly understandable to have concerns about your health, it's disheartening to see how this kind of conversation can dominate interactions. What's even more unfortunate is that it's rare to hear someone say, "I'm still healthy and living actively." We forget that while our health may not be perfect, focusing solely on our ailments does little to help us feel better physically or emotionally. Yes, many older adults do need to take medications or go for regular checkups, but immediately launching into a discussion about your illness when meeting others only brings the mood down. It dampens the atmosphere and creates a cloud of negativity that's hard to shake off. So, what's the alternative? Instead of dwelling on your illness or pain, why not shift the focus to something positive? When you meet others, take the opportunity to uplift them and yourself. Compliment the person you're speaking with. It could be something simple, like noticing a new hairstyle. Your hair looks fantastic. Where did you get it done? Or maybe you seem so vibrant today. What's your secret? These little compliments do more than just make the other person feel good. They improve your mood as well. Positivity is contagious, and when you create a lighthearted and pleasant atmosphere, it's not just the other person who benefits, you feel it too. When we focus on positive things, joy and happiness naturally follow. It's like planting a seed of happiness that blooms in unexpected ways. On the flip side, constantly talking about how tired you feel, how much pain you're in, or how frustrated you are with your health not only brings down the mood but can also lead to a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you dwell on those negative emotions, the more your body and mind sink into that state. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Repeating phrases like "I'm so tired" or "it hurts so much" not only convinces your mind that these things are true, but can also make your body believe them, amplifying your suffering. Even worse, statements like "I'd rather be dead" or "I can't take it anymore" can push you further into despair. Instead of falling into that downward spiral, there is a better way forward. Happiness is not found in grand gestures or extraordinary moments. It lies in the small, everyday things we often overlook. It's in the laughter shared with friends, the warmth of a kind word, or the simple act of enjoying a sunny day. When we choose to focus on these moments, we shift our energy from suffering to joy. Instead of constantly reminding yourself and others of your pain, try to find moments that bring laughter and light. Even if your body is tired and your health isn't what it used to be, maintaining a sense of humor, staying energetic, and choosing optimism can make all the difference in how you experience life. We no longer live in an era where disease-free longevity is the norm. We're indeed living longer, but often with the accompaniment of various illnesses. This is the reality of our time. However, that doesn't mean life has to be defined by those illnesses. Even if you have one or two conditions to manage, you can still live a fulfilling and vibrant life. Your mindset and the words you choose to speak play a significant role in this. The more you speak positively, the more you foster a healthier and more uplifting environment for yourself and those around you. So the next time you feel tempted to complain about your illness, pause and ask yourself if it's truly necessary. Will talking about your pain make it any better? Or will it just cast a shadow over the conversation and reinforce the negative emotions you're already feeling? Instead, choose to focus on what's good, what's beautiful, and what brings you joy. Share stories of something that made you laugh, talk about a hobby you're passionate about, or even ask about the other person's day. When we make a conscious effort to shift our conversations from illness to life's brighter aspects, we create space for happiness to flourish. Living longer doesn't have to mean living in constant misery or complaint. With the right mindset and a focus on positivity, you can manage your health and still live with joy, gratitude, and energy. Speak kind words to others and yourself. Lift your spirits by focusing on the present and what brings you happiness, rather than what holds you down. Your words are powerful. They shape not just your reality, but the atmosphere around you. So, choose words that heal, that uplift, and that bring you peace. In doing so, you'll find that your life, despite its challenges, can still be filled with moments of joy, connection, and fulfillment. And that, in the end, is what true happiness is all about. As we come to the end of this journey through life's important lessons, it's time to reflect on what we've learned so far. From managing our emotions and letting go of anger to focusing on positivity rather than illness, we've explored how these insights can shape our relationships, well-being, and happiness. Now we want to hear from you. What's the one thing you've learned from today's video that you'll start putting into practice in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content like this. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to see you in our next video.